Ladies and gentlemen, what's good? It's your boy Ruben. Happy Wild Card Weekend. We here. Games kick off. 49ers. I don't even know what we're starting with that because we all know the 49ers are going to be the Seahawks. I'm just hoping for a good game there. But I think ultimately the Niners roster is just too strong. Tonight, Jags hosting the Chargers. And I wrestled with this one. And the reason this one makes me a little nervous is because Jaguars beat the shit out of the Chargers the last time we played. Not only did they do it, they did it at their house. Now, I wrestled with this one because there's something about playing a team a second time for all the marbles. And I don't feel like we saw the best shot the Chargers had to give. And I think they're a little bit of a different team now than they were then. If you guys remember, they lost some players. They lost their left tackle that game. They lost Joey Bosa that game, and Herbert was questionable. He ended up playing, being a last minute kind of game time decision because he had the rib injury. So how vanilla were they? I don't remember if Austin Eckler played, but if he did, he wasn't that much of a factor. And he is the guy that they got to pay a lot of attention to this game, as Mike Williams won't be here, but Joey B and Khalil Mack will. And so I wrestled with this one, but at the end of the day, our stadium's going to be rocking. These guys had to travel across the country, and Staley, I feel like, has been coaching tight. And there's something about the Chargers where they don't seem to do too hot in pressure situations. I think this will be a tight game. I think it'll be a high scoring game, but I also think the Chargers will end up losing in Jacksonville by around 3 points. I can see a 34-31 type of game, where just it goes tit for tat and we just hold on. Now, I'll give y'all my predictions, right? So I think the Bengals are going to beat the Ravens. There's no Lamar Jackson. I knew that contract situation was going to really mess with them. And then obviously, the Bills will beat the Dolphins. That means the Bengals Bills will be the next round in this scenario, and the Jacksonville Jaguars will have to go into Kansas City. And unfortunately, guys, I think this is where our parade stops. Of all the games, we could have been 12-5. We could have been 13-3. We had a lot of games where we were leading at the end of the game, and we just couldn't see it through for one reason or another. I do think we have grown a lot, but I think this is where our season ends here, because the one game I had zero doubt that we were going to lose was the Kansas City game, and that game was even closer than I think the score indicated. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. That game, the score doesn't reflect how bad we looked against them. So that's just where I'm at with that. Ultimately, I think we end up with an upset of the Bengals over the Bills, putting us at a rematch with Kansas City and the Bengals. And I think ultimately I'm going to go ahead and give it to Kansas City to advance back to the Super Bowl. Even though Kansas City's beat them, I believe, the last 3 times, I think this time, 4th time is going to be a charm. And it leaves us to the NFC, which is a tough one. And I had to sit here and really think about it. I do believe that the Cowboys eke it out against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is not good this year. They have so many weaknesses, but you could argue that makes them prime for them to upset the Cowboys, even though they're at home. But I think this is one where the Cowboys pull it together. We get Van Der Esch back, Hankins back. They can't run the ball. And just on the strength of Tom Brady, this game's going to be closer than it needs to be. But I think ultimately the Cowboys do what they got to do, pull it out. And then I got the Vikings over the Giants and San Fran in a too close for comfort kind of game. But San Fran's going to pull it out in the end, probably win by double digits. And that leaves the Cowboys going into Philly. And that leaves the Niners hosting the Vikings. And this is where the buck stops for the Vikings. If the Vikings had anybody other than Kirk Cousins, I would feel like I like the way the Vikings are designed in terms of they're explosive on offense and they have good pass rushers. I know their defense isn't good in terms of I don't think they're great stopping the run, but they're kind of built to play with the lead. They have hellacious pass rushers, and then Patrick Peterson still playing well, Harrison Smith in the back end. But if you're playing a tit for tat game with them, I don't think it's a good situation for them. But if they can get out to a lead and force you into all passing situations, the Vikings can be a problem. But ultimately, Kirk Cousins, I think, chokes this one away and ends up losing to Brock Purdy. And and you guys know how I feel about the Cowboys. I believe that they can go into Philly and win a really too close for comfort game against Philly. Both quarterbacks will be present. I don't trust Jalen Hurts. And you can ask me, well, how the hell do you trust Dak Prescott? And I got to be real with you. I don't 100% trust Dak Prescott because considering how he's looked. There's something about the way he's looked since he's been back from injury. These picks are very uncharacteristic. I'm actually questioning if there's any kind of residual pain from the thumb injury that he had earlier in the season, that may be causing him to not let it rip the way he normally does. But it's not even just that. I feel like he's not seeing the field as well. There's a combination of, I'm wondering if it's injury. Is it a combination of he doesn't feel like he has a go-to guy? Although he loves Dalton Schultz, and I know CeeDee Lamb's having a good year, but you don't get that feeling that he had with Amari Cooper, where he just has a guy that is going to make the big play for him that he trusts like that. And I think he's been trying to force stuff to see who's going to be that guy that makes that play for him. So there's a combination of that. But at the end of the day, I just don't trust Jalen Hurts being able to. I think it'll be a good game if we can control the run. And I know that's a lot to say, to control the run against one of the best rosters in the league. And I contend that it's the Niners and the Eagles that have the best roster in the NFL, right? Top to bottom. But it's the quarterback play for me where I wonder if Jalen Hurts, if we force him to play left-handed and have to drop back and have to make passes, can he do it? Can the Cowboys force him to play left-handed? That's going to be the real question. And I think they will. I think we'll be able to put up points. I think we'll be in a situation where we can push a lead. In a tit-for-tat game, obviously, you can say it's like a coin flip, but I think we end up in a situation where Jalen Hurts has to win the game from the pocket, and we don't allow it to happen, which means the Cowboys will advance, and I believe they play the Niners. The Niners will host the Cowboys in the NFC Championship game. And then this is where I have trouble, right? Because any other year, I don't believe the Cowboys beat the Niners. But it's Brock Purdy. Does Deebo Samuel come back? Because remember, he had an ankle injury, but it wasn't broken. It was a sprain. And that you're talking 4 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, could an appearance of Deebo Samuel be made? Brandon Ayuk is having an awesome year. George Kittle is making a resurgence with Brock Purdy at quarterback. Does Brock Purdy make them more dynamic? And I'm going, and Christian McCaffrey's a problem. I can't believe I'm going to say this, guys. I'm going to roll with the Cowboys versus the Kansas City Chiefs in one of the most exciting Super Bowls we'll have seen in quite some time. Now, damn, that's a hard pivot considering I don't like the way the Cowboys have limped into the playoffs. But, am I going to flip on camera? Am I going to flip? Am I going to flip on camera? Nah. When it's all said and done, I think the Cowboys will be in the Super Bowl playing against Kansas City. And then when that time comes, I'll give you guys my prediction. But I mean, it's been a great NFL season. I both my teams made it, and this is the most wide open situation. And this video can be wrong after Monday, right? Because Cowboys can mess around and lose to Tampa, but Tampa just hasn't been good. And I don't know what more I can say. Is like Tampa has not been good. You can say whatever you want about the Cowboys. They've got several. They've got a couple 40-point games. There's a 50-pointer in there. They're, I believe, the number one offense in the league. And at the end of the day, I just don't think Tom Brady's going to be able to keep up at the end of the day. Now, Dak could fuck this all up. And you know, with the Cowboys, mistakes can come in droves, right? You saw what happened against the Commanders. We couldn't get a punt off. Then all of a sudden a punt fumble. Then and a pick six happens. Like this stuff is getting ridiculous. I think we get right. I think we get right. I think this might be the rare situation where that embarrassment gets their head together. And if Michael Parsons can make an appearance, because I got to tell y'all, the last 5 to 6 games, he has disappointed me. I thought he was going to win. He was a shoo-in for defensive MVP, but now I think it's going to go to Nicky Bosa, and I'm hoping that really gets him going to show who he is. He did say that this is the time that legends are made, and I agree with him. What do y'all think? Cowboys, Chiefs, how y'all feeling? Hit me down below. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. I appreciate all the love, and I'll catch y'all after the weekend and see where I'm standing. Peace.